I'm Justin Davis, and this is Drone Camps RC. Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. I'm Justin Davis, and today we're going to check out a little waterproof brushless micro from Ideafly. This is the F90, 90mm size frame. It's a compact all-in-one camera up top, little 600 TVL camera, and a little FrSky antenna coming out the top. Now, if you did just get this one, you're kind of wondering how to set it up or why your S-Bus is not working. That's because it's PPM. And some other reports from other reviewers getting theirs out of the box and they had broken prop guards. Well, mine was a victim of that too. So mine has a couple there, and I'll probably just snip this other side off here before I take you guys out and do my flight demo today. But kind of disappointing on the prop guards on these. I feel like this should be a little stronger. Mainly also because, like someone else said, that this is supposed to be branded as an indoor flyer, but with 1104 motors on here, I think this one's really going to be the best outside. It's really going to fly a lot like some of the other brushless micros I've flown right here on the channel, because this power system should be plenty powerful on these 1104s. And these 2035 props, as you guys know, they're pretty much some of my favorites. They're very smooth, and they have a nice ratio to the battery from the power system. So you're not going to drain a lot of juice super quick with these, and they're going to fly a lot smoother than the thicker style props. But everything on here has conformal coating on it. If you look at the very bottom of the quad, look at this. Look how juiced up this thing is. This thing is solid covered on the bottom and on the inside. And I'll pop the top in a second. You won't believe all of the conformal coating inside here. It's actually completely covered and waterproofed. Now, with that said, I wouldn't land this in a mud puddle and completely submerge this. If somebody does it, let me see it on your channel. I'd love to see it. But what this one is really meant for is typically flying in the rain. So that's about the extent of the waterproofing on this. I think I would safely fly it in the rain. I wouldn't say to land it in a swimming pool or try to land it in the lake somewhere, because it's actually, you know, it's quite heavy. It's going to sink, and with a battery on there, you're going to sink. You're not going to float. This little guy does not float. Now, if you put little miniature floaties on there, it might actually float, and that might be kind of funny too. That'd be a funny little mod for this guy. But you might want to test that out in the bathtub first before you take it out and land it in the ocean. But let's go ahead and pop the top on this, and I'll show you what's hiding under the hood. Now, before we take the top off, let's talk about this little battery bay. You are going to be limited to using this type of battery if you decide to stick with this battery bay. And this is a 2S 400 milliamp. Just slides right up in here just like this, and it actually looks exactly like the FrSky batteries that I've had before. So I've used these, and they're okay. They're not the greatest in the world, but what I would probably do and what I would suggest is just pull this battery out. If you want to use the wider batteries, go ahead and peel back this tape right here. This little double-sided tape right here. Just peel this back, and it reveals a screw underneath here and a screw on the back side. So if you want to put a piece of Velcro here, instead of having a battery bay that limits you, take this off, and then you can run a Velcro strap under here. That way you can hold on a much wider battery and even possibly a bigger battery. So now let's go ahead and pop the top off the F90, and I'll show you how awesomely coated this is. Look at all of this conformal coating on here. I mean, this thing is just literally lathered in conformal coating. It actually feels like plastic to the touch. It's very thick on here. Now, how that does for hotter days is going to be questionable. Whether this can handle all the heat, as it's probably held in by this top coat. But for cool, rainy days, I think this is what this is for. It would probably be absolutely fine. Now, during your hotter summer months, I'm not sure how that's going to work out if you're down somewhere in like Arizona or somewhere. But this is really interesting because everything, absolutely everything is covered up in conformal coating, and it's a really interesting layout here. We do have sort of a PCB and built-in LEDs down here that run out to the arms. Now, this looks like that the PDB down here is actually part of the arms, and I think the next version of this, if they did a version of this with carbon out to the end of the arms instead of this PDB, I've seen designs like this in the past, and what's worried me is that once you break an arm on something like this, you're pretty much done with the whole thing, because there's no replacing this unless you can get this individual part. So then you're going to have to put everything back on that original bottom plate, which is also your quad's arms. So I'm going to give a negative for that aspect of this. Now, what's neat about this is that the bottom part, yes, it is the PDB, and the motor wires are coming up to the top part. So that tells me that the flight controller and the ESCs are all built into one board here. So this is really interesting because you have total integration of the flight controller and the ESCs. And the ESCs, by the way, are actually D-Shot. So I did upgrade these to D-Shot 600. It came defaulted to one-shot 125. Now, if you look over here in the very front of the quad, and that's right here, you see this little clear wire hanging out here. This is your FrSky PPM antenna for your receiver sticking out. Now, these motors aren't labeled, but like I said, they are 1104s, and they're better for outdoor performance. They're going to get you tons of boost. They're also 8500 kV, which is super high kV motors, so I'm expecting a really good punch out from these. Even on 2S, you're going to see great performance out of this quad. Now, it has been raining a lot this week, so I'm actually kind of looking forward to flying this one over top of a wet surface, and I think this is going to benefit us the most on those type of days. If there's mud puddles around, I've flown on days where the grass is all wet and there's a random mud puddle here or there, and I've actually found that one single mud puddle out in the middle of a parking lot and just completely landed my micro in it. Back when I was first building micros, actually, I went out to do a flight demo, and after about my third battery, I flipped over into a mud puddle upside down and I fried everything. It was really unfortunate, but I feel like if you land this one in a mud puddle and you walk over and pick it up, and it's probably going to be absolutely fine. So that's pretty much what this one's set up for. Like I said, it's not really for like landing it in a swimming pool and completely submerging it, which it could probably handle that for a second or two, but I think just long enough for you to pick it up and save it. So that's what this one's all about. If you land it in the wet grass, don't worry about it. Just kill your motors, walk over and pick it up, and go fly your next battery. So they have the idea here, and they got started with something, so I can't complain about them getting started with something. And I'm going to go ahead and take a little bit of glue, and I'm just going to glue this prop guard back right here, because I don't want to take these off or shear or snip these off, mainly because if I hit a motor on the edge right there, I believe it's going to break that PDB on the bottom, and then this quad is going to be completely done. So I wouldn't recommend flying this one unless you have prop guards on it. It's very important for this particular quad. And I might also like to see in the next one that they have a 200 milliwatt transmitter, video transmitter in this one. That's kind of what we like to see these days as kind of standard. 25 milliwatt is very good for close proximity, but for anything further than like a football field away, you definitely need like 200 for a nice clean video signal. So now that we're done with this little overview of what's included in this quad, let's go outside, let's do a line of sight flight test with it, and then let's do a little FPV action with this little F90. All right, so we're just gonna go ahead and do a quick line of sight flight test. And it's pretty wet out here right now, so I'm not really too worried about it. It should be just fine. Puddles everywhere. Here we go. The motors feel good. I am in acro already, so I can do flips. Let's do a punch out real quick. You ready? 1, 2, 3. Not bad. You can see those LEDs. Looked like they were green indoors and now they're blue, so they might be color switchable. That's pretty cool too. Plenty of pep, a little bit of red light there. Oh yeah, this will be fun to fly, no doubt. Nice. Up. Prop guards are working. I just bumped that tree. I wonder how waterproof this actually is. I'd really like to land it in this puddle over here on my left, just because it seems like whenever I'm flying, when there's a little bit of wet grass or something on the ground, I always find the mud puddle somewhere to land in. Somehow I do it. I'm not going to worry about it with this one so much. At least I think from what's been advertised about this quad. But we'll save that for after we do the flight test. We'll see if it can handle landing in water straight on. That way we can kind of, looks like we're out of battery. We had some kind of a hard reset there on the ESC. Now, if the voltage gets low, it's probably going to do that with this quad. So you'll want to turn up the motor timing to 9 or 10 so that your ESCs don't do that. Just going to make sure everything is still good here. Everything looks good. Now I'll put a fresh battery on there and we'll do some FPV. So, okay guys, here we are. This is after that flip of death into the ground, and you know, it's a little bit wet out here right now. And like I was showing you before, there are, you know, the street's wet, there's a few puddles around, but I didn't even get to land this in a puddle yet. And for some reason, it just will not fire up anymore. If I plug the battery in, I don't get any LEDs. Check this out. No more LEDs on the bottom, and my arm switch is not responding. I'm going to set it flat on the ground and see if the flight controller will actually activate. And I don't get any response from the receiver anymore. Just flipping my switch up here, see if I can get it to arm. I've tried several different batteries. I have a larger 450 milliamp Eachine battery that has a 90C rating on it. And I also turned up the motor timing to 9. And now I don't have anything else happening with this quad, which is extremely strange. I didn't do anything with it to upset it or interrupt its functionality. I didn't land it in any water yet. Didn't even get to do the mud puddle test, which I'm kind of bummed about because I was looking forward to dropping this in a puddle for you guys, seeing how it handled that water and then taking it back out. But you can see it's plugged in right there. I've got a brand new battery on it, and it's just not responding at all. Something happened to it when it hit the ground over there, and I'm not 100% sure what it was. But for this honest review, guys, I'm not sure I can recommend this. If this was your experience, please let me know in the comments below. But as always, I'll post a link down below if you guys want to check it out. Just not going to make my high marks on my channel. So Ideafly, I don't know what happened here, but doesn't seem like we have a winner here. I might, if I ever get another copy of this, I'll try to show it off to you guys. But kind of bummed because it did have some pretty fun stuff going on here, and I think they did a lot of work to produce this. It's just there's some kind of problem with it. I don't know what it is. But anyway, guys, thanks for watching another honest review. I'm Justin Davis. I'll see you on the next one.